Welcome to the MLB Coast to Coast podcast. I'm your host tonight, Nate Weitzer, flying solo with Mo out there in Vegas, still getting his bets in. And we're running without Josh Lander here, who was called away for an emergency tonight, but we are still bringing you our best bets for Monday. We've got a full slate of MLB action, plenty of games to choose from, so many, in fact, that we're going to go with 4 different games in lightning round style here. As always, head to lines.com where we are writing plenty of content. We will be breaking down the storylines and giving you best bets every single day. NBA season over now, but we are looking at futures odds there, and we will be back soon with our videos on that front. And if you do need a FanDuel or DraftKings account, head to ftpicks.com, dkpicks.com. Find those listings in your local area, such as this Monday here. I'll run through the lines real quick. We got Cubs minus 104 at the Pirates. Tigers are plus 160 at Boston. Yanks minus 130 at Rays. Premier matchup there, Cole versus McClanahan. Logan Webb and the Giants plus 130 at Braves. Another good matchup as the Braves are throwing Max Fried. Cardinals plus 138 at Brewers. Blue Jays minus 134 at White Sox. Royals plus 164 at the Angels. And they're throwing Thor as they look to stay hot. And then the Diamondbacks plus 154 at San Diego. So we're looking at some of Mo's particular bets here. Some things I like. We're just going to rattle them off and get his opinion here as our resident MLB seam head. So the Pirates are obviously a team to pick on. Even the Cubs have not been world beaters, but they did impress there, snapping the Braves win streak and throwing Caleb Killian, who, sort of go with the devil you don't know, I guess, in this sense, or the prospect who's at least showing some signs of being a good pitcher other than JT Brubaker, who's just really struggled the past 3 years. I'm actually a pretty decent believer in the numbers he's putting up, including 10 Ks against the Cubs last time out, but he's been really up and down. For me, I'm taking the Cubs in this at this money line here because Killian's decent and the Pirates offense is just atrocious. In the last 30, they have the lowest average, 28% K rate compared to just 29% hard contact. So is that really the angle here, Mo? Is it just picking on the Pirates offense, or is there something more to this?
Well, Pirates offense might get a boost here. Top prospect O'Neal Cruz is supposed to be coming up and playing here, but we'll see how he adjusts to the majors. It's honestly mostly just a belief in Killian. He had a rough outing last time when I backed him, but I'm willing to just kind of throw that one out. I think that was the crazy wind game where it was like 20-something miles per hour to the outfield against the Padres, and they scored 1 million runs. It's mostly, honestly, a bet on his minor league track record. The computers really believe in it. I really believe in it. The projections think he should be a low 4s ERA, which is really impressive for a guy with 9 major league innings to his name and only 58 minor league innings. But man, he really looked pretty good in those 58 innings. He's crushing it at AAA this year. Just been too good for AAA hitters, and posting a 2.51 ERA there is really good. And a 3.37 FIP. These AAA ballparks, especially in the league that the Cubs affiliate is in, are really, really high offense. So those numbers are actually a lot better than they sound. Tons of grounders. That's translated so far, allowing a really low launch angle here. So just basically betting that his minor league track record is real. And if it is, I think the Cubs should be closer to like minus 120, maybe minus 130 here. So yeah, I do like the Cubs, but it's just not a spot you can go too heavy just because it's just basically a minor league track record that's driving my estimation of Killian and the projections estimation of Killian. And we've talked about Brubaker before. He won't pitch as good as his peripherals. I mean, his K stuff is going to be good, and then just the contact quality he's going to allow is going to stink.
Yeah, I mean, with Killian, you got to hope that he has a little better control than he showed in his first 2 major league starts. But you're saying, yeah, in AAA he did. Question is, can he overcome that 17% walk rate? The projections certainly expect him to come down a little bit, and Brubaker is has just struggled routinely. Like we're
Yeah,
saying,
the walks
0-7
weren't a major
4.5.
problem in the minors. So that's basically the reason that I'm not too concerned. It's been bad so far, but it wasn't like that in the minors.
Mm-hmm. Well, moving on to another one of these great matchups here we have on Monday is the Cardinals at Brewers. Miles Mikolas versus Corbin Burns. Mikolas coming off a one-hitter where he was basically a couple inches away from pulling off that complete no-hitter. And he's been up and down when it comes to facing the Brewers. They do have the highest ground ball rate in the majors over the last 30 games here for them. So that's great news for a ground baller like Mikolas, who had a 67% ground ball rate. Sort of a lucky one hitter, if you will, though, giving up 91 exit velocity in that start. So, but his slider definitely +6 here. Definitely an impressive pitch that he'll lean on. And going up against Corbin Burns, who's starting to figure things out for sure. In his last two, just dominant, 17% swinging strikes and 72% contact in the zone. The last time he faced St. Louis, which is 4 starts ago, he got 51% swings outside the zone. So just, really impressive in terms of getting them to chase. And they're a team that doesn't really chase much, which is part of the reason Caleb Gillian, we were talking about, had struggled in his first start against them. But that Brewers offense coming alive is really what we look to here, I think. They 6.5 runs per game, won 4 of their last 5, 828 OPS. And Mikolas, who's gave up 6 earned his last time out against Milwaukee, he has won 3 of his last 5, but I think we certainly trust the Cy Young winner over him. And at -150 at home, the Brew Crew getting some good juice here.
Yeah, Burns, I know he's had some rough starts lately, but his season numbers are still tremendous. I mean, 2.52 ERA, 2.95 xERA, and he's still getting all the swings and misses. And the Cards, we know they have a big split. They're much, much better against left-handed pitching. And the other thing for Burns here is he's such a high usage of his cutter, 56% on the season. I was looking, St. Louis has been like, I can't remember exactly where they were, but they were like bottom 5 against cutters. They've been putrid. So it's a pretty good spot for the Brewers. And like you said, their offense is getting healthier, getting, Hunter Renfroe back, getting Willy Adames back. I believe it's looking up for them on that side, even though that's the part of their team I'm not that impressed with. But yeah, I do think the Brewers, it was only kind of one rogue line, -155 I found on DraftKings. So if it's getting past 160, I don't think there's value. So hopefully either the line goes the other way for you guys or that DraftKings line hangs around and you see this early enough.
Yes, and there is another interesting game we want to talk about here in the Midwest. The White Sox hosting the Blue Jays. Don't really know what to make of these two pitchers at this point because Jose Barrios has just been so up and down. Lance Lynn has only had 1 start back from injury here this year, but it didn't look good, and I'm willing to try to fade him in this one against the Blue Jays offense that's just scorching since the start of June, hitting 295 as a unit with 35 homers in 19 games. And when your velocity dips, if you're Lynn and your guy leans on just fastball location and good velocity, it's down to 92.5 here so far this year. Rates -2.5, and he couldn't really find the zone in his return. Gave up 10 hits to the freaking Tigers, Mo. The Tigers, the worst offense baseball has seen. And Barrios, in his last 3, another trend where we're seeing a talented guy start to figure it out with 26 Ks, 3 walks, has a 73 or better first strike rate, and is getting a lot of swings outside the zone in that span. White Sox have the 4th highest outside swing rate. He has a lot of experience facing this lineup. They have a lot of experience seeing him. But I think if you want to take Blue Jays over 4.5 runs and kind of fade Lynn that way, I like that almost as much as trying to take them on the money line in this one.
Yeah, Lynn really made us sweat. That was not one of my better picks, I guess. I laid some pretty big juice on the White Sox there. They came through, but it was not because of Lance Lynn. It's definitely like you noted. It all comes down to the fastball with him. He throws it all the time, and if the velocity's down and or his location is off, he's not going to be able to succeed, because that's everything for him. He's not one of these guys whose secondaries dominate or, mix up his pitches. But I got to say, I was actually leaning toward White Sox, but I can't bet it because of the uncertainty around Lynn. But I can't figure out Jose Barrios, man. I just cannot figure it out. Either he completely dominates, or he seems like he just gets completely blown up. And I feel like I'm on the wrong side of it, no matter which side I take. So I guess he's just going to be this year's Frankie Montas. A couple of years ago, I just had to not even look at the line on Frankie Montas' starts. I couldn't get any of them right, and I feel like I can't get anything right on the Blue Jays. So I guess that means the Blue Jays is probably the right side, or Barrios' starts for the Blue Jays. So I guess that means they're probably the right side, since I'm kind of interested in the White Sox, but not a chance in the world I'm betting this one.
Well, y'all can follow me on that one if you want. Blue Jays coming off 9 runs against the Yankees, that incredible pitching staff. So I think that offense too good for Lance Lynn to hold down. Then this last game, Mo, I think, likes the underdog plus 154, the Diamondbacks at Padres. He's been piling on you, Darvish, or expecting him to hit a downward swing here at this point in his career. There are some signs. I mean, he still has that good velocity. He still has 5 pitches he can go to. But yeah, there's definitely signs that he's going to get hit hard at some point here, and it might be against Arizona, who rates 7th against the slider and has the lowest outside the zone swing rate, and that's what Darvish is depending on at this point. You're throwing 50% sliders almost at this point. He kind of had a really weird start here in his opener against Arizona. Had 4 walks, no hits, 6 scoreless. Prior to that, he had been tagged for 5 earned in both of his previous starts against the D-backs. Zach Davies on the other side of the mound. Getting some of the lowest hard contact of his career at this point. I mean, low barrel rate, low home run fly ball, but also not in the zone that much, and somehow skating away with a 12.7 K minus BB. I think that there's things are going to come home to roost for him as well. I actually like the over here at just 7 runs. I think the Padres are the type of offense that can produce against Davies. They don't need to take him deep. They don't take many people deep, but I think they can scratch over runs here. And Darvish might continue to struggle to go deep against this Arizona lineup that seems pretty disciplined and pretty good at laying off.
They are disciplined, surprisingly so, for a lower tier offense that hasn't been that good. Arizona does have good pitch recognition overall. But I would say in this game that over does make some sense to me. Actually, it does seem low for these pitchers, and especially that Arizona bullpen is about as bad as it gets. They've been horrific. After they started out the year somewhat okay, they've gone back to where I honestly expected them to be. But Zach Davies, it's been a real weird season for him, man. 3.78 ERA. And I'm inclined to think that's a fluke, but then I see, he has a 4.2 Sierra, which is his best since 2016. He's actually pitching decent. Huge dip in exit velocity down to 85.8. So low barrel rate too. I think one of the lowest of his career. I don't know what's behind his improvement. I guess it's command / sequencing, because when I'm looking at his pitch mix and his velocity, everything's the same as always. So I'm not really sure how sustainable this is, but I mean, he just keeps doing it start after start. So I'm guessing he's pitching better. I don't expect him to fall off a cliff, I guess. I mean, his home run rate is way improved. His walk rate is much better than last year. Yeah, I think he's just a little below average. And I have Darvish as average. It pains me to say it because I love watching Darvish, but I don't think he's that great anymore. And I think the Padres, they don't have a dominating offense, so they're just too big of favorites here for me. I think they should be a little south of minus 150, so around minus 165 I think is just too high for Arizona.
Yeah, it's a Diamondbacks team that's been pretty routinely underestimated by odds makers, and they've paid off big. They're 20-12 to the run line here on the road, 19-11 as road dogs, and 33-21 as underdogs overall. So not saying it's not a bad idea to get some juice here where you can in a pretty close pitching matchup. So yeah, if you want to follow Mo on the D-backs there, maybe we'll call them our darling D-backs at some point soon. But that is all the time we have for you in this one. Stay tuned. Every weekday we will be bringing you these MLB episodes. Continuing with Tuesday night, back with Josh Lander, our usual host. And until we see you next, happy betting.